We are in a brutal struggle to win our independence from Great Britain. I fight alongside my husband. When he falls in battle, I carry on. I defy custom and fight to enjoy freedom or lose it with my life. Deborah Sampson, 4th Massachusetts Regiment. Brothers fighting brothers in a civil war that may cleave our young nation in two. I joined the battle as a woman and as a man. It would make your hair stand on end to be where I have been. A 700-mile march over shattered forest and torn earth. The dead lie in heaps and rows, friend and foe. Sarah Rosetta Wakeman, New York State Volunteers. I serve as a nurse, one of 2,000 sent to the battlefields, to save the living as best I know how, to comfort the dying when hope is gone. I am Dr. Mary Walker, surgeon and spy, awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for service to the nation. When our troops fight in Cuba and the Philippines, I go with 1,500 others to nurse the men in the swamps and jungles where malaria and typhoid fever are a deadly enemy. Soon after the war, my value is recognized. Congress establishes the Army and Navy Nurse Corps, giving women official military status for the first time. The country calls on me again when America goes to Europe to help our French and British allies in their war against Germany. I join the Navy and Marines, 12,000 strong, to free the men to fight. I serve as a clerk, a secretary, translator, draftsman, fingerprint expert.
Yes, sir.
A Signal Corps girl in France, where every order for troop movements comes over my lines. I serve as 10,000 nurses deployed to the combat zones, where bombs, bullets, and mustard gas kill and injure 400,000. I see those wounded boys, never a whimper. Then 2 bombs come crashing down, and pieces of steel and stone come screaming through our tent. Helen McClelland, Army Nurse Corps. When the wartime emergency ends, except for a few hundred nurses, we are all discharged, no longer needed. The attack on Pearl Harbor hurls America into war against both Japan and Germany, launching a deadly conflict that mobilizes the nation. I answer the call to join the military in massive numbers, to free the men to fight.
There is a deep satisfaction in saying to your country, in its hour of need, here am I, use me.
Nearly 400,000 volunteer. I serve as a teletype operator at Allied Forces headquarters in North Africa, a postal worker in France, getting the mail out to servicemen in all the combat battalions in Europe, a radio man on the coast, knowing I'm the main link between headquarters and the ships at sea. A voice in the control tower saying, "Clear to land," to pilots testing new fighter planes. A motor transport worker, where 3 of us do the jobs of 6 men who went off to war. A tow pilot for aerial gunnery practice, a dangerous occupation when the men in training can't tell the target from the plane. I am a student in the Cadet Nurse Corps, and I am 70,000 trained nurses caring for the wounded on land, at sea, and in the air. I serve at Anzio, trapped between the sea and the Germans. Bombs raining down. We are swamped with the gravest casualties. Many would have died if we were not so close to the front. Lieutenant Avis Daggett, Army Nurse Corps. The Japanese closing in on us. Everybody wounded. And one young soldier who has lost all 4 extremities says to me, "I'm so sorry you girls are out here having to work like this. It just breaks your heart to hear talk like that." The Japanese capture 87 of us. By some miracle, we all survive. The last 67 are joyfully liberated after 3 years as prisoners of war. Lieutenant Hattie Brantley, Army Nurse Corps. At war's end, we are no longer needed. The military discharges all but a handful of us, and most women return eagerly to civilian life. But some of us have new ambitions. The war has shown that servicewomen contribute greatly to the defense of the nation. I tell the U.S. Senate, any national defense weapon known to be of value should be developed and not allowed to rust or be abolished. Captain Joy Bright Hancock, U.S. Navy. Congress agrees, and in 1948, the Women's Armed Forces Integration Act gives permanent status to military women. Our numbers, ranks, and benefits are severely limited, but to us, it's a cause for celebration. The Cold War that follows World War II turns hot when we defend the Republic of South Korea from invasion by the Communist North. Thousands of service women are recalled and recruited. For those of us deployed as combat nurses, it is a harsh tour of duty. My hours are as long as I can keep standing. When they hear my voice, some boys think they're back in the States. One private says, "My God, a real American nurse. Remove my bandages so I can see her." But he is blind. The Vietnam War escalates into a years-long conflict, creating a permanent manpower emergency and mounting casualties. I am deployed with 6,000 of my sister nurses on dangerous ground, where I suffer injury and death. Military policy keeps other servicewomen out of the combat zone, until the need for support personnel grows so critical that the policy bends. I volunteer because there's a war going on, and as a career officer, I feel I should be part of it. Major Wilma Vaught, U.S. Air Force. A few hundred non-medical servicewomen are finally deployed to Vietnam. The next 2 decades bring landmarks that transform our lives. In 1967, President Lyndon B. Johnson signs a bill that removes the 1948 caps on our numbers and our promotions. Within a few years, the chiefs of the women's programs become our first generals and admirals. In 1973, our military becomes an all-volunteer force. It recruits women by expanding opportunities. Thanks to the women's movement, new laws force the military to open even more jobs and to give servicewomen equal benefits. Barriers tumble in nearly all non-combat jobs.
Come right, Stair Course 148.
And we join our brothers at the military academies. We grow to 240,000. But it is no secret that there is still a deep level of resistance toward women and our incursions into all-male preserves. In 1990, when America goes to the Persian Gulf, 40,000 of us deploy to Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Our jobs are classified as non-combat, but that does not keep us out of danger. Army Specialist 4 Melissa Rathbun-Neely and Army Major Rhonda Cornum are captured. 16 servicewomen lose their lives. Major Marie Rossi, a pilot, is killed in a helicopter crash.
I think if you talk to women who are professionally in the military, we see ourselves as soldiers. We don't really put it into perspective as men versus women. And what I'm doing is no greater or no less than the man who's flying next to me or the men that are flying ahead of me.
Major Rossi's words live on. And Desert Storm blows away the old belief that women can't be warriors. By 1993, I see the laws that have excluded me from combat stricken from the books. I now fight in the air and on the high seas. As a soldier and Marine, I engage in all but direct ground combat. When I'm deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq, I join my brothers in a new camaraderie.
That's been awesome, learning how to fight and employ the weapon systems and become the best pilot that I need to be to bring me and my fellow pilots out back safely.
To be one of the only female gunners in the battalion with a bunch of guys is actually kind of cool. You know, they have a lot of respect for me and I have a lot of respect for them.
Men and women in the cities, we all do the same thing. We're all supporting the same mission. We get a lot of, oh, Navy. Well, what ship are you on? I'm not on a ship. I'm a Seabee. We do construction. We support the Marines.
So I'm watching these brave Marines under attack, and I'm wondering, how can I help them? So we went very low altitude to try to get the enemy to disengage, and it worked. I don't know who those Marines were, and they don't know who I was. But at that day, we were all Americans trying to help each other out.
I've deployed to Iraq twice. My last deployment that I spent over there, I got the opportunity to work with EOD, which is Explosive Ordnance Disposal. I'd like to feel that I'm capable of doing whatever asked of me. I'd like to think that I am the kind of Marine, the kind of person, the kind of woman that would be very willing to lay down my life for someone next to me.
I stand now on a blurry line between combat and non-combat zones.
The fact is that this is an equal opportunity war. So we have females with injuries, major injuries, just as we have males with major injuries.
That morning I volunteered to be the gunner of the vehicle that I was in. Everything was going so perfect that whole morning. It was just a good day. And then all of a sudden we hit a anti-tank mine. That's all I remember. If I had it to do all over again, I would definitely do it again. I would go back right now if they would let me.
I'm very glad that I have the opportunity to serve my country and to do my part. I feel it's as much my responsibility as it is anybody else's.
And there's people that came before us that allow us to do this, and we were able to find that common bond, that patriotism and that warrior spirit that said no matter what, go out there and fight for your country.